The door opens before anyone expects it. A man walks in, tall, confident, wearing a suit that costs more than some people's rent. His shoes click against the floor like drum beats announcing his arrival. He does not look around. He does not acknowledge the cameras. He walks straight to the defendant's table and sits down, arms crossed, jaw set. Behind him, an older man enters. Much older. His steps are slow, careful, uncertain. He holds a white cane in his right hand, tapping it gently against the ground as he moves forward. His left hand reaches out slightly, feeling for obstacles that might appear in his path. His hair is gray, his face lined with years of living. He wears a simple button-down shirt, clean but faded, and dark pants that have been washed too many times. The bailiff steps forward and gently guides him to the plaintiff's table. The older man nods his thanks, his cloudy eyes staring straight ahead at nothing in particular. He sits down slowly, placing his cane against the table. His hands shake slightly as he adjusts his position. The courtroom is quiet. Not silent. There are murmurs, whispers, the rustle of papers, but quiet in a way that feels heavy. People in the gallery lean forward. They can sense something difficult is about to unfold. Judge Judy sits at the bench, flipping through the case file. She has not looked up yet, but her expression is already tight, controlled. She has been doing this job long enough to know when a case is going to hurt. This one, she can tell already, is going to hurt. But before we begin, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments below and hit that subscribe button if you want more real courtroom stories that reveal what people are truly capable of. Trust me, you will not want to miss what happens next. Judge Judy finally looks up. Her eyes move from the file to the older man at the plaintiff's table, then to the younger man at the defendant's table. She studies them both for a long moment. Then she speaks. "State your name for the record," she says, looking at the plaintiff. The older man clears his throat. His voice is quiet but steady. "Robert Chen. People call me Robert." "And you?" Judy turns to the defendant. The younger man does not stand, does not show respect. He just speaks, voice flat and annoyed. "Marcus Chen." "You are father and son?" Judy asks. Robert nods. "Yes, Your Honor." Marcus rolls his eyes. Just slightly. But it is enough. Judy sees it. The gallery sees it. Even Robert, who cannot see anything, seems to sense it in the silence that follows. Judy leans forward. "Mr. Robert Chen, you filed this lawsuit. Tell me why you are here." Robert takes a deep breath. His hands grip the edge of the table. "Your Honor, I am here because my son kicked me out of my own house. The house I bought 40 years ago. The house I raised him in. He changed the locks while I was at the doctor. He put my things in garbage bags on the front lawn. And when I called him to ask why, he told me I was no longer welcome." The courtroom reacts. Gasps. Murmurs. Someone in the back whispers, "That's his dad?" Judge Judy raises a hand. The noise stops immediately. She turns to Marcus. "Mr. Marcus Chen, is that true?" Marcus shrugs. Actually shrugs, like this is all just a minor inconvenience. "It is not his house anymore. It is mine. I have been paying the mortgage for 2 years. I handle the property taxes. I fix everything that breaks. He does not contribute anything. So yeah, I asked him to leave." Robert's head drops slightly. His fingers tremble against the table. Judy's voice is cold. "You asked him to leave, or you forced him to leave?" Marcus leans back in his chair, arms still crossed. "He was not listening. I had to make it clear." "By putting his belongings in trash bags?" Judy asks. "I gave him time to pack," Marcus says. "He chose not to, so I did it for him." Robert's voice cracks. "I was at the doctor. I had an appointment for my eyes. You knew that. I told you that morning." Marcus does not look at him. "You have been at the doctor 100 times. It does not change anything." Judge Judy's jaw tightens. She flips a page in the file. "Mr. Marcus Chen, whose name is on the deed to this house. Marcus hesitates. Just for a second. But it is enough to tell Judy everything. His name. But his name is on the deed, Judy repeats. So it is his house. Legally, sure, Marcus says. But I am the one keeping it running. He cannot even see to write a check anymore. The words land like a slap. Robert's shoulders tighten. His hands curl into fists on the table. Judy's voice drops lower, colder. Mr. Marcus Chen, your father is blind. Is that correct? Marcus nods. Yeah, he lost his vision about 3 years ago. And you knew this when you changed the locks? Of course I knew, Marcus says. But that does not mean he gets to live there for free forever. Judy leans back in her chair. Her expression is unreadable, but the tension in the room has doubled. Mr. Robert Chen, tell me what happened the day you were locked out. Robert takes a shaky breath. I went to my eye appointment. Marcus drove me there. He said he would pick me up at 3. But when 3 came, he did not show up. I called him 5 times. He did not answer. Finally, the nurse at the office helped me call a taxi. When I got home, my key did not work. I thought maybe I had the wrong key, so I knocked. No one answered. I knocked again. Nothing. His voice breaks slightly. Then I heard the neighbor, Mrs. Park. She came over and told me there were bags on the lawn. My bags. She described them to me. My clothes, my books, my cane holder. Everything I own. Just sitting there in the front yard like garbage. The courtroom is silent now. Completely silent. Even Marcus shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Judy's voice is quiet but sharp. Where did you go that night? Robert's head drops. Mrs. Park let me sleep on her couch. She helped me carry my things inside. I have been staying there for 2 weeks now. Judy turns to Marcus. Her eyes are hard. You left your blind father stranded at a doctor's office. Then you locked him out of his own home and left his belongings on the lawn. Do I have that right? Marcus's confidence falters. Just a little. I told him weeks ago that he needed to find somewhere else to live. He did not take me seriously. I had to do something. You had to do something, Judy repeats slowly. And what you chose to do was abandon your disabled father? He is not my responsibility anymore, Marcus says, and the coldness in his voice makes several people in the gallery gasp. Robert's hands start to shake. Not just his fingers now, his whole hands. Judy sets the file down. Mr. Marcus Chen, your father raised you, fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head for how many years? Marcus looks away. That is different. How is it different? Judy demands. Because he chose to have me. I did not choose to take care of him. The words hang in the air like poison. The gallery erupts. People are shaking their heads, muttering in disbelief. The bailiff steps forward, but Judy raises her hand again. The noise dies down. Robert's voice is barely a whisper. Marcus, I changed your diapers. I taught you to ride a bike. I worked 2 jobs so you could go to college. When your mother died, I was the one who held you while you cried. Marcus does not respond. He stares at the table, jaw clenched. Robert continues, his voice growing stronger despite the trembling in his hands. Do you remember when you broke your arm in 4th grade? I took off work for 2 weeks to stay home with you. I read to you every night because you could not hold a book. I made your favorite soup even though I was exhausted. Marcus's jaw tightens, but he says nothing. And when you wanted to start your business, Robert says, who gave you $15,000? Who told you to follow your dreams, even when everyone else said you would fail? Marcus finally looks up, irritation flashing in his eyes. And I paid you back, every penny. You paid back the money, Robert says quietly. But you did not pay back the love. The courtroom goes completely still. Even Judy pauses, letting the weight of those words settle. A woman in the gallery wipes her eyes. Someone else shakes their head slowly. Judy takes a deep breath. Mr. Marcus Chen, you claim you have been paying the mortgage for 2 years. Do you have proof of that? Marcus reaches into a folder and pulls out a stack of papers. The bailiff takes them and hands them to Judy. She flips through them slowly, her expression unreadable. The rustle of paper is the only sound in the room. After a long moment, she looks up. These show payments made from your account. But Mr. Robert Chen, is your name still on the mortgage? Robert nods. Yes, Your Honor. The house is still in my name. The mortgage is still in my name. I never transferred anything to him. Judy turns back to Marcus. So you have been paying the mortgage on a house that does not belong to you. Did your father ask you to do that? Marcus hesitates. He could not afford it anymore. I had to step in. That was not my question, Judy says sharply. Did he ask you to pay it? No, Marcus admits. But if I did not pay it, the bank would have taken the house. Robert's voice is quiet but clear. I never asked him to pay. I was managing. It was tight, but I was managing. He insisted. He said he wanted to help. Judy looks at Marcus. Is that true? Marcus does not answer immediately. Then, finally, I told him I would help. But I did not say it was free. Judy's eyebrows go up. You did not say it was free. So you charged your blind father rent to live in his own house? Not rent, Marcus says quickly. But I expected him to appreciate what I was doing. To understand that I was sacrificing for him. Sacrificing, Judy repeats. By taking over his home and then kicking him out of it. Marcus's face reddens. I did not take over anything. I was trying to help and he made it impossible. Judy leans forward. How did he make it impossible? Marcus throws his hands up. He is stubborn. He will not listen to anyone. He refuses to admit that he needs help. He still tries to cook for himself even though he cannot see the stove. He will not move into a care facility even though that is clearly what he needs. Robert's voice cuts through the room, quiet but firm. I do not need a care facility. I need my home. The gallery murmurs in agreement. Someone claps once, then stops when the bailiff glances their way. Judy studies Robert for a long moment. Then she turns back to Marcus. Mr. Marcus Chen, your father is 72 years old. He is blind. He has lived in that house for 40 years, and you decided, without any legal authority, to remove him. Do you understand how serious that is? Marcus shifts uncomfortably. I thought I was doing the right thing. The right thing, Judy says slowly, would have been to talk to him, to work with him, not to ambush him while he was at a medical appointment. Marcus looks down. For the first time, he seems uncertain. Judy flips through the papers again. Mr. Marcus Chen, I see here that you also canceled your father's credit cards. Is that correct? Marcus straightens up. Those were joint accounts. I had the right. You had the right, Judy says. But did you have the decency to tell him first? Silence. Marcus does not answer. Robert speaks up, his voice shaking with emotion. I found out when my card was declined at the pharmacy. I was trying to buy my blood pressure medication. The pharmacist told me the card was canceled. I had to call Marcus from the store. He told me he would not pay for my medications anymore. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. A woman in the front row covers her mouth. Judy's voice is ice. You cut off his access to his medication? Marcus tries to defend himself. He gets Social Security. He can pay for his own medication. How much is his Social Security? Judy asks. I do not know exactly, Marcus says. You do not know, Judy repeats. But you decided he could afford his medication. Robert's voice is shaky. I get $900 a month, Your Honor. My medication costs $300. My food, my phone, everything else has to come from what is left. Judy looks at Marcus. And you thought this was acceptable? Marcus's confidence is crumbling. I thought he would realize he needed to move, that he could not keep living like this. Living like what? Judy asks. Living independently in his own home. Marcus does not answer. Judy taps her pen on the bench. Mr. Robert Chen, you are asking for what exactly? Robert's voice is steady now. I want to go home, Your Honor. I want my son to give me back my keys. I want my credit cards restored. And I want him to understand that what he did was wrong. The courtroom is silent. Judy looks at Marcus, then at Robert, then back at Marcus. Her voice is quiet, but carries the weight of judgment. Mr. Marcus Chen, I'm going to ask you one question, and I want you to think very carefully before you answer. Marcus looks up, wary. Judy leans forward. If your father had done to you what you did to him, if he had kicked you out of your home when you were vulnerable and alone, would you forgive him? Marcus opens his mouth, then closes it. The answer is written all over his face. He looks away, unable to meet Judy's gaze. Judy nods slowly. That is what I thought. She picks up the file again. Mr. Marcus Chen, I need to understand something. When did you start paying the mortgage? Marcus clears his throat. About 2 years ago, right after he went blind. And before that? Judy asks. Before that, he was paying it himself. For how many years?
Marcus hesitates. I do not know. 40 years, maybe? Judy nods. So your father paid that mortgage for 40 years, alone, and you paid it for 2 years. And now you believe that gives you the right to take his home? Marcus does not answer. Judy closes the file. I want to bring in a witness. Mr. Robert Chen, you mentioned a neighbor, Mrs. Park. Is she here? Robert nods. Yes, Your Honor. She said she would come. Judy signals to the bailiff. Bring her in. The bailiff opens the side door. A woman in her 60s enters. She has kind eyes, but her face shows worry. She walks to the witness stand and sits down carefully. State your name for the record, Judy says. Grace Park, the woman says. Her voice is soft but clear. Mrs. Park, you are Robert Chen's neighbor? Yes, Your Honor, I have lived next door to Robert for 15 years. Judy nods. And you were there the day Mr. Marcus Chen locked his father out of the house? Mrs. Park's face tightens. Yes, I was. I heard knocking. I looked out my window and saw Robert at his front door. He was confused. He kept trying his key, but it would not work. I went outside to see if I could help. What did you see? Mrs. Park takes a breath. There were garbage bags on the lawn, 5 or 6 of them. They were filled with clothes, books, personal items. I could see Robert's things. His favorite jacket was in one. The photo album from his wife's funeral was in another. The courtroom is silent. Robert's hands grip the table tighter. What did Mr. Robert Chen do? Judy asks. He asked me what was happening, Mrs. Park says. I had to tell him his things were on the lawn. He did not believe me at first. He thought I was joking. But when I described what I saw, his face just broke. Her voice cracks. I have never seen anyone look so hurt, so betrayed. Marcus stares at the table. His jaw is clenched so tight it looks painful. Did you speak to Mr. Marcus Chen that day? Judy asks. I called him, Mrs. Park says. I asked him what was going on. He said Robert needed to learn to take care of himself, that this was for his own good. For his own good, Judy repeats. Yes, Mrs. Park says. I told him Robert was blind, that he needed help. Marcus said that was exactly the problem, that Robert refused to admit he needed help. Judy leans back. Mrs. Park, in the 15 years you have lived next to Robert Chen, have you seen him as a problem neighbor? No, Mrs. Park says immediately. Robert is wonderful. He keeps to himself mostly. He is always polite. After he went blind, I started checking on him more, making sure he was okay. He never asked for help, but I gave it anyway because that is what neighbors do. Has he been able to manage on his own? Yes, Mrs. Park says. He has a system. He knows where everything is in his house. He can cook simple meals. He gets around with his cane. He listens to audiobooks. He is more independent than most people think. Judy turns to Marcus. Mr. Marcus Chen, your neighbor says your father has been managing fine. Why did you think he could not? Marcus shifts. She does not see everything. She does not know how many times I have had to help him. How many times? Judy asks. Marcus hesitates. I do not know. A lot. Once a week? Once a month? I do not keep track, Marcus says defensively. Mrs. Park, Judy says, how often did you see Marcus Chen visiting his father? Mrs. Park thinks for a moment. In the last 6 months? Maybe once a month. Sometimes less. Marcus's face reddens. That is not true. I was there all the time. Were you? Judy asks. Mrs. Park, did you see Marcus Chen at the house frequently? No, Mrs. Park says quietly. And Robert never mentioned him visiting much either. Judy nods. Thank you, Mrs. Park. You can step down. Mrs. Park returns to her seat in the gallery. She reaches over and pats Robert's shoulder gently as she passes. Robert nods, unable to speak. Judy takes a long breath. Mr. Marcus Chen, this is what I see. You have a father who raised you, supported you, loved you. When he needed help, you chose control over compassion. You took over his finances. You made decisions for him without his consent. And when he did not do exactly what you wanted, you threw him out of his own home. Marcus opens his mouth, but Judy raises her hand. I am not finished, she says. You claim you were helping him. But helping someone does not mean taking away their dignity. It does not mean punishing them for being stubborn. It means working with them, finding solutions together, respecting their wishes even when you disagree. The courtroom is completely still. Mr. Robert Chen, Judy says, you are legally entitled to your home. The deed is in your name. Your son had no legal right to lock you out. Robert nods slowly. Judy turns back to Marcus. Mr. Marcus Chen, you are going to give your father his keys back, today. You are going to restore his credit cards. You are going to apologize for what you did, and you are going to let him live in his own home in peace. Marcus's face goes pale. But the mortgage is his responsibility, Judy says. If you want to help him pay it, that is between you and him. But you will not use it as leverage to control him. Your Honor, I am not finished, Judy says sharply. You are also going to pay for Mrs. Park's kindness. She took your father in when you abandoned him. She fed him. She gave him a place to sleep. You will reimburse her for those 2 weeks, $500. Marcus's eyes widen. 500. Would you rather I make it 1,000? Judy asks. Marcus closes his mouth. The courtroom is still. Marcus sits frozen, his face a mixture of anger and shame. Robert's hands have stopped shaking. He sits straighter now, as if hope has given him strength. Judy is not done. Furthermore, she says, you claim you have been paying the mortgage for 2 years. You have the receipts. But Mr. Robert Chen, do you have proof that you were managing the payments before your son took over? Robert nods. Yes, Your Honor. I have bank statements going back 10 years. They show regular mortgage payments from my account. Judy gestures to the bailiff. Let me see those. The bailiff brings Robert a folder that Mrs. Park had been holding for him. Robert cannot see to find the documents, so the bailiff gently takes the folder and hands the papers to Judy. She reviews them carefully. Minutes pass. The only sound is the rustling of paper. Finally, Judy looks up. Mr. Marcus Chen, these statements show that your father made every single mortgage payment on time for years. His account was never overdrawn. The payments never bounced. In fact, according to these records, he was ahead on his payments when you took over. Marcus shifts in his seat. That does not mean he could keep it up. But it means he was managing, Judy says. You claimed he could not handle his finances. These records prove otherwise. She sets the papers down. Mr. Marcus Chen, when did your father ask you to take over the mortgage payments? He did not ask, Marcus admits, but I could see he was struggling. What did you see? Judy asks. Be specific. Marcus fumbles for words. He looked tired. He seemed stressed. He looked tired, Judy repeats. So you decided to take control of his house. I was trying to help. Marcus's voice rises for the first time. Real emotion breaks through his cold exterior. No, Judy says quietly. You were trying to control. There is a difference. The gallery murmurs agreement. Marcus looks around, seeing no support anywhere. Judy continues, Mr. Robert Chen, why did you allow your son to start paying the mortgage if you were managing fine? Robert's voice is sad. Because he insisted, Your Honor. He said he wanted to help. He said he was worried about me. I thought it was nice that my son cared. I did not realize he was building a case to take my home. The words hit Marcus visibly. He flinches. Did you sign anything? Judy asks Robert. Any agreement that your son could take over the house? No, Your Honor. Nothing in writing. He just started paying. At first I tried to stop him. I said I could manage, but he told me I was being proud, that I should let him help. So I did. Judy turns to Marcus. And you saw his trust as permission to take over his life. Marcus does not answer. Judy takes a breath. She has seen many ugly cases. But this one cuts deeper because it is family. Because it is a son betraying a father. Let me tell you what I think happened here, Judy says. I think you saw your father lose his vision and you got scared. Scared of the responsibility. Scared of having to take care of him. So you convinced yourself that the problem was him. That he was stubborn, difficult, impossible to help. Marcus starts to protest, but Judy holds up her hand. But the truth is, you did not want to help him live independently. You wanted him gone. And when he would not leave willingly, you forced him out. You used the mortgage payments as justification. You made yourself believe you had earned the right to his house, but you did not earn anything. You betrayed him. The courtroom is silent. Several people are crying openly now. Judy's voice softens slightly. Mr. Marcus Chen, I am going to give you a chance. One chance. You are going to apologize to your father, right now, and it better be genuine. Marcus looks at Robert. His father's face is turned toward him even though he cannot see. The cloudy eyes seem to look right through Marcus, seeing something deeper than vision allows. Marcus opens his mouth, closes it, tries again. He starts. His voice cracks. Dad, Robert waits. The whole courtroom waits. I did not mean for it to go this far, Marcus says quietly. I did not know what to do. When you went blind, I panicked. I thought you needed more help than I could give. I thought putting you in a care facility was the answer, and when you refused, I got angry. Robert's expression does not change. Marcus continues, words coming faster now. I convinced myself that I was doing the right thing, that I was protecting you, but Mrs. Park is right. I barely visited. I did not want to see you struggling because it made me feel guilty, so I just took over, and when that was not enough, I pushed you out. Tears start forming in Marcus's eyes. Real tears. I am sorry, Dad. I am so sorry. You did not deserve any of this. You have always been there for me. Always. And when you needed me, I failed you. The courtroom is completely still. Robert's hands rest on the table, no longer shaking. Marcus, Robert says softly, why did you not just talk to me? Marcus wipes his eyes. Because I was scared you would say no, scared you would keep trying to be independent when I thought you could not be. But that should have been my choice, Robert says. Not yours. I know, Marcus whispers. I know that now. Judy watches them both. Mr. Marcus Chen, an apology is a start, but it is not enough. You owe your father more than words. Marcus nods. What do you want me to do? First, Judy says, you will return his keys immediately after we leave this courtroom. Second, you will restore his credit cards by the end of today. Third, you will pay Mrs. Park $500 for taking care of your father. Yes, Your Honor, Marcus says quietly. And fourth, Judy continues, you will sit down with your father and a mediator. You will work out a real plan, not a plan where you control everything, a plan where your father has a say in his own life. Marcus nods again. Judy turns to Robert. Mr. Robert Chen, do you want your son to continue helping with the mortgage? Robert thinks for a long moment. If he wants to help, I will not stop him. But it has to be help, not control. If I say no to something, he has to respect that. Agreed, Judy says. She looks at Marcus. Can you do that? Marcus meets his father's eyes. Yes, I will do better, I promise. Judy picks up her gavel. Then here is my ruling. Mr. Robert Chen retains full ownership of his home. Mr. Marcus Chen will return all keys and restore all accounts immediately. He will pay Mrs. Park $500, and both of you will attend mediation within 30 days to establish clear boundaries and expectations. She pauses. Mr. Marcus Chen, if you violate any part of this order, your father can bring you back here, and next time, I will not be so generous. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor, Marcus says. Mr. Robert Chen, do you accept this resolution? Robert nods. Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Judy sets down her gavel without striking it. This case is resolved, but I want to say something to everyone watching. She looks directly at the camera. Taking care of aging parents is hard. It is exhausting. It is scary. But it does not give you the right to take away their independence. It does not give you the right to make decisions for them just because it is easier for you. Her voice is firm. If you have an aging parent who is struggling, talk to them, listen to them, find solutions together, get professional help if you need it, but do not do what this young man did. Do not betray the people who gave you everything. She looks back at Marcus and Robert. You two have a lot of work to do, a lot of trust to rebuild, but you are family, and family is worth fighting for. She finally strikes the gavel. We are adjourned. The bailiff calls out, All rise. Everyone stands. Judy leaves the bench. The courtroom begins to empty. Marcus walks slowly to his father's table. Robert stands, holding his cane. For a long moment, neither of them speaks. Then Marcus reaches into his pocket and pulls out a key. He places it in his father's hand. This is your house key, Marcus says quietly. The new one I made, and I have the old locks in my car. I will put them back today. Robert's fingers close around the key. Thank you. Marcus hesitates, then speaks again. Dad, can I drive you home? Robert is quiet for a moment. Then he nods. Yes, that would be nice. Mrs. Park approaches them, smiling through tears. Robert, I am so glad this worked out. Thank you, Grace, Robert says. For everything, for taking me in, for coming here today. I could not have done this without you. You do not have to thank me, Mrs. Park says. That is what neighbors do, what friends do. Marcus pulls out his wallet. He counts out $500 bills and hands them to Mrs. Park. I am sorry you had to get involved in this, and thank you for taking care of my father when I should have been. Mrs. Park takes the money. I hope you mean what you said in there. I do, Marcus says. I really do. The three of them walk toward the exit. Marcus offers his arm to help his father navigate. Robert takes it, not because he cannot manage alone, but because sometimes accepting help is its own kind of strength. As they leave the courtroom, someone in the gallery whispers, Do you think he meant it, the son? Another person responds, I hope so, for both their sakes. The camera lingers on the empty courtroom, the chairs, the bench, the scales of justice hanging on the wall. Then the scene shifts. We see Marcus's car pulling up to a small house. The lawn is neat, the paint is a little faded, but the house looks well loved. Marcus helps his father out of the car. They walk to the front door together. Robert puts his key in the lock. It turns smoothly. The door opens. Robert steps inside his home for the first time in 2 weeks. He breathes in deeply, like a man who has been holding his breath for too long. It smells the same, he says softly. Marcus carries his father's bags inside. Where do you want these? In my room, please, Robert says. Marcus takes the bags down the hall. When he returns, Robert is standing in the living room, one hand on the back of his favorite chair. The chair where he used to sit with his wife. The chair where he read stories to Marcus when Marcus was small. Dad, Marcus says, I really am sorry. Robert turns toward his voice. I know. But sorry is not enough by itself. You have to do better. I will, Marcus promises. Starting now. What do you need? Groceries? Help with bills? What can I do? Robert smiles slightly. Right now, I need you to leave. Marcus looks surprised. What? I need some time alone in my house, Robert explains gently. To remember that it is mine, to feel safe here again. Do you understand? Marcus swallows hard. Yes, I understand. But, Robert continues, come back tomorrow for breakfast, 8 o'clock. I will make pancakes, your favorite. You will make them? Marcus asks, worried. Dad, the stove. I can make pancakes, Robert says firmly. I have a system, trust me. Marcus nods slowly. Okay, 8 o'clock. I will be here. He walks to the door, then turns back. Dad? I love you. Robert's expression softens. I love you too, son. Even after everything, I still love you. Marcus leaves. Robert stands alone in his living room. He runs his hand along the familiar furniture. He walks to the kitchen, counting his steps. Everything is where he left it. Everything is home. He sits down in his favorite chair and lets out a long breath. For the first time in 2 weeks, he feels safe. Later that evening, Mrs. Park knocks on the door. Robert calls out, "Come in, Grace." She enters carrying a covered dish. "I brought you dinner, your favorite, chicken soup." "You did not have to do that," Robert says. "I know," Mrs. Park replies, "but I wanted to. Besides, we need to celebrate. You got your home back." They eat together, talking about small things. The weather, the neighborhood, the new family moving in down the street, normal things, safe things. When Mrs. Park leaves, Robert washes the dishes carefully. He has a system for this too. He runs his hand along the edge of the sink to find where the faucet is. He knows exactly how much soap to use. He places each clean dish in the drying rack with practiced precision. When he finishes, he makes his way to his bedroom. He changes into his pajamas. He gets into bed, his own bed, and pulls the covers up. In the darkness, which looks the same to him whether his eyes are open or closed, Robert allows himself to feel everything he has been holding back, the hurt, the betrayal, the fear. But also the relief, the hope, the love that still exists despite everything. Tomorrow, Marcus will come for breakfast. They will sit at the kitchen table together. They will start the slow work of rebuilding what was broken. It will not be easy. Trust, once shattered, does not heal quickly. But they are family, and sometimes that has to be enough. The next morning arrives. Marcus shows up at exactly 8 o'clock. He knocks gently. "Come in," Robert calls from the kitchen. Marcus enters and stops. His father is at the stove, carefully flipping pancakes. He has his cane hooked over his arm. He uses his other hand to feel the edge of the pan, then the spatula, then guides the spatula under each pancake with careful precision. "Dad, those look great," Marcus says, surprised. "I told you I had a system," Robert says, smiling slightly. "Set the table, please. Plates are in the cabinet on the left. Syrup is in the fridge." Marcus does as asked. They sit down together. For a minute, neither speaks. They just eat. Then Marcus breaks the silence. "I called the mediator. We have an appointment next Tuesday." "Good," Robert says. "And I restored your credit cards," Marcus continues. "They should work again." "Thank you." Another silence. Then Marcus asks, "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "How did you do it?" Marcus asks. "How did you stay strong through all of this? If someone did to me what I did to you, I do not know if I could forgive them." Robert sets down his fork. He is quiet for a long moment. "I forgave you because I remember who you were before you were scared. I remember the little boy who cried when he saw a hurt bird, the teenager who stood up for kids who were bullied, the young man who called me every Sunday just to talk." His voice softens. "That person is still in there, Marcus. Fear made you do terrible things. But you are not your fear. You are my son. And I believe you can be better." Marcus's eyes fill with tears. What if I mess up again? Then we will deal with it, Robert says simply. But you have to promise me something. Anything, Marcus says. Promise me that you will talk to me, Robert says. When you are scared, when you are overwhelmed, when you do not know what to do. Promise me you will not just take over. Promise me you will ask. I promise, Marcus says. I really promise this time. They finish breakfast in comfortable silence. When they are done, Marcus insists on washing the dishes. Robert sits at the table, listening to the sound of water running, dishes clinking. Normal sounds, family sounds. Marcus, Robert says. Yeah, Dad? Thank you for coming back. Marcus turns off the water. He dries his hands and walks over to his father. He kneels down beside his chair so they are at eye level, even though Robert cannot see him. Thank you for letting me, Marcus says. Robert reaches out and finds his son's hand. He holds it tight. We are going to be okay. It will take time, but we are going to be okay. Marcus nods, tears streaming down his face. I know, Dad. I know we will. And in that moment, in that small kitchen, in that well-loved house, healing begins. Not complete healing, not instant forgiveness, but the start of something real, something honest. The kind of healing that only happens when people are brave enough to be vulnerable, brave enough to admit they were wrong, brave enough to try again. Days turn into weeks. Marcus comes by every Sunday for breakfast. He helps with the lawn care. He drives his father to doctor appointments, but he asks permission first. He listens when Robert says no. He respects boundaries. Slowly, trust rebuilds. Not the blind trust that was there before, but something stronger. Trust earned through consistency, through showing up, through doing what you promise. At the mediation session, they work out clear agreements. Marcus will help with the mortgage, but the house stays in Robert's name. Robert will accept help with certain tasks, but he makes his own decisions. They will check in with each other weekly. Most importantly, they will be honest. About fears, about needs, about limits. It is not perfect. They have arguments. Marcus sometimes slips back into trying to control things. Robert sometimes refuses help out of stubbornness. But they work through it. They talk. They listen. Mrs. Park watches from next door, smiling. She sees Marcus's car in the driveway more often now. She hears laughter sometimes, floating through the open windows. One day, she sees Marcus and Robert working together in the garden. Marcus is digging holes for new plants. Robert is directing him, using his hands to feel the soil and guide his son on where to place each plant. They are rebuilding more than trust. They are rebuilding their relationship, starting from the foundation and working their way up. And back in Judge Judy's courtroom, another family sits where they sat. Another story unfolds. Another judge tries to find justice in the messy, complicated reality of human relationships. Because that is what the courtroom is for. Not just to punish wrongdoing, but to find a way forward, to give people a chance to do better. Marcus and Robert got that chance, and they are taking it. One day at a time, one conversation at a time, one breakfast at a time. The road ahead is long, but they are walking it together, and that makes all the difference. What do you think? Could you forgive someone who did this to you? Or would the betrayal be too deep? Share your thoughts in the comments below and hit subscribe to see more real courtroom stories that show the best and worst of human nature. Because these stories matter. They remind us that family is complicated, that love is not always enough, that sometimes we have to fight for the relationships that matter most, and sometimes, just sometimes, that fight is worth it.